Hello, hello. Hi Melty, hi Azumaki, welcome everybody to Saturday Chris stream, where we are going to play some more games. Hi Riot, welcome. Today, we're gonna play some games based on a Carta system, which is created by Peach Garden Games, which is, we've played a few of their games in the past, because there's a game jam happening right now based off of this system too, and I'm kind of interested in seeing what it's about, and maybe I will do something with that as well. So let's see. Also, because I already had this this game kind of on my radar. This is not recognized? Weird. Spotify, you are still playing. No track playing. This is the new Leon album. Or World 2! Let's restart soon. Doesn't matter, but it just kind of bothered me. There we go. Okay, so this one is called Into the Glacier, a game of solitary exploration. So we will see what this glacier is all about, I guess. It sounds cool. I like it. I'll give you my exclusive pair of sunglasses. Hi, KT. So, welcome to the Glacier. It is a mysterious place, just out of humanity's grasp, just a little bit further than people. Their lights and their fire, well, a little bit further than people, with their lights and their fire can reach. That is not, of course, to say it is uninhabited. Nor is it to say that no one ever ventures into the glacier. People have their reasons. You have your reasons. Whatever their reasons for trespassing in winter's sacred territory, people try and quickly find that they do not belong here.
I am a 37-month subscriber. Wow. I'm a big fan of Chris, I guess.
I think that's how long I've been an affiliate. Wow, that's a long time. I guess it was like, I think it's 2018 that I got it.
It was like March 2018.
Been a while. Yeah, I guess 36. Oh, 3 years. Yeah, 3 whole years. Whenever I like started doing more commentary, which I think was about then, that's when I like started streaming more. That's like Connor's one of the quick ways if you do a lot of commentary to get going with affiliate. So here you will need one standard deck of playing cards. We've got our trusty Twitch ones, 2 6-sided dice. Okay. We've got our dice, a character marker like a figurine or a small toy. I mean, we could use the bone dice as the character marker. Oh, if I had like D&D figurines, I would use it then for this. I do not. A piece of paper and a pencil. That may be to be decided. We'll see. You might want a hot drink, a favorite blanket, a nice journal. I actually don't have a hot drink because it's so hot today. It's so hot out. I'm very warm. So let's see about the glacier. Yeah, we're playing a cold game for a hot day. It feels like summer. It's ridiculous. It's so bizarre to me. It's like 23 right now, I think. Oh, my phone says 24. But it's been like in the 20s every day this week. And I'm not used to this kind of weather in April. Like, extendedly. I think it's gonna keep going the rest of the, at least to like mid next week. It's amazing. And, like, going out without a coat on at all, and yeah, for you Americans, I don't know, that's 20, 16, maybe 70? I'm gonna guess, here, my commitment, I'm gonna say 74. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, I'm a genius. Alright, well, we're gonna go to the glacier, though. Why are you here? You have come to the glacier because you have heard a story. You have every reason to believe it is true, and you have come to the glacier to find something. Which story are you following exactly? Ooh, you heard the tale of the Remarin unicorn from your grandmother when you were small, and again from your mother when you were a little bit older. It seems like the kind of story every household has its own version of, and just thinking about the Remarin unicorn reminds you of a warm kitchen and the scent of baking. Once upon a time, there was a very little child, very much like yourself, though you are no longer a child. One horrible winter, the child's parents fell very ill. They could not eat, they burned with raging fever, and they were bound to their bed, racked with pain. The little child did their best to help, but being too small to chop wood, too little to cook, and too young to work, there was only so much they could do while their parents suffered, and the other, smaller children grew more and more afraid. The little child was confused and frightened, too, of course. Anyone would be. But they tried to be very brave and very strong for the smaller children. And then one of the smaller children one morning did not wake, but kept on sleeping, face red and forehead burning. So, I feel like this music is far too upbeat, and for this, like, dark and cold illness story that we're reading, but we will continue. So, the oldest child set out into the cold to look for help. They intended to find the doctor, but a cruel blizzard lashed at them and painted the air so milky white that the child went the wrong way, further away from the doctor towards the glacier. In the milky white air, they had no idea that even every step took them further and further from the fireplaces and blankets and torches of the village. The wind blew right through the child, and that white snow blew right into their eyelashes and stung their forehead. They focused on taking just one step at a time, just one more step. And then, in the middle of the glacier, where the blizzard was at its absolute thickest and the air stung to breathe, the child bumped into someone. Thinking it was the doctor, the child just hurriedly said everything they could think of to say. "Please help, my parents and my little siblings are sick, they have a fever, I don't know what to do, I'm scared." It all came out in a rush. And then the blizzard subsided for a moment, and the child looked up to see what looked like a small, delicate gray horse. Trails of lacy ice crystals wound through its mane and tail, and a horn of purest blue poked out its forehead. It said nothing, of course, but it knelt in the snow and looked at the child as if inviting them to climb in its back. When the child was safely astride the unicorn, with little hands tangled in its icy mane, the unicorn began to run. Not just one step at a time through the clear night air, but at a mighty gallop, covering ground which had felt like hours to the child in a matter of seconds. Soon they approached the lights of the village and the child's house. The Remarin unicorn walked into the house as if it belonged there, ducking its head beneath the doorframe. And when it touched its horn to the sleeping family members, a pale blue snow began falling indoors, surrounding them with a faint light. When the light subsided, the unicorn had vanished, and so, to the child's delight, had the fever. Their parents sat up in bed, free from pain, and their little siblings jumped up and danced. And if the story is true, you need the unicorn's help. So you set out into the glacier to seek it out. Okay. The Winter Queen's Service. Wait, are these just a bunch of different stories? Oh, okay, we're gonna read all of these. This is gonna be a lot of reading, but I'm here for it. We get to pick which tale, which backstory we want to flavor the rest of this. See, I was looking, I'm like, this looks like, oh, you can't see on stream. There's a lot of pages in this, which I didn't actually look that closely before I opened this. But anyways, okay, so that's the unicorn. What was that called? I'm not even sure if I'm saying this word right. The Remarin unicorn. Next, we'll read about the Winter Queen's service. You heard the tale of the Winter Queen's service from a certain socialite of your acquaintance. It's probably Rhymerin. Frost Rhyme? I actually think I'm familiar. You think I would. Oh, like rhyme ice. What phrase? Oh, like hoarfrost. What's the difference? Oh, look at here's a picture. What's the difference between hoarfrost and rhyme ice? So they're not actually the same, but it looks like hoarfrost. I love hoarfrost. It's like one of my favorite things of winter. Interesting. Rhyme rain. That makes sense. Wow. Bunch of detectives in chat here. Alright, let's read the Winter Queen's service. You heard the tale of the Winter Queen's service from a certain socialite of your acquaintance. They are lovely beyond description, at least as far as you are concerned, with a laugh like a festival and a smile like a perfect petite four. One day, gathered around with what felt like an impossible number of other admirers at a cheerful salon, they laughed and told you this story. You see, once upon a time, the Queen of Winter, when she was but newly coronated and young, decided that she had a great deal to learn about the world beyond her own world and her returning? Is that like rain? Wow, we're just learning words left, right, and center. Like, is it retenue? Like, that's what I see it. It is Anglo-French. And her retenue. So, in disguise, she wandered out of the glacier to see what she could find in the village nearby. Oh. My sneeze gonna go away? Oh, I should have muted. I didn't think it was gonna happen though. Sorry. Okay. So, in disguise, she wandered out of the glacier to see what she could find in the village nearby. She had to be very crafty in order to do this, as her many advisors were dead set against it. They were royal advisors too, which makes them crafty opponents and very difficult to outsmart. However, she said to herself, she was the Queen of Winter and there would be no outsmarting her. I'm sorry, I should have muted. If I muted, I probably would have lost the sneeze. That's Murphy's Law, right? Okay, so she was the Queen of Winter and there would be no outsmarting her. So, several little fibs, daring escapes, and feats of cleverness later, she found herself wandering the streets of the village unadvised. She saw people doing their chores, which she watched from behind a fence with her ice blue eyes, fascinated. Her eyes were about to turn an envious green when suddenly she saw a particular villager. They were special. The queen watched them as they walked around the village gathering ingredients for something in a simple burlap tote. They smiled at all the shopkeepers, waving mittened hands and shouting cheerful greetings as their breath puffed up in a fog around them. And just the sight of their joy and their hard work made the queen feel a little like she was melting. Soon the melting sensation grew almost unbearable, and the queen couldn't keep to herself any longer. She poked her head out over the top of the fence, trying to get a better look at this special villager when their eyes met. The queen, having no crafty plan for this eventuality, stammered her way through an introduction, and the villager, with the same easy cheer they had with everyone else, introduced themselves in turn. Soon, the two of them sat for tea in a nearby cafe, and they talked and talked for over an hour, sharing a pot of tea in a simple rustic tea service. The queen invited the villager to join her for tea in the Glacier. They picked a date, and the queen hurried back home to prepare. When the date of the tea arrived, the queen waited anxiously in a clearing with tea set out in a sparkling set of snow-white china decorated in ice-blue flowers. Suddenly, she realized something that made her jump up from her seat and run out into the glacier. The villager didn't belong there and could freeze, so she abandoned the tea service in the clearing and ran off in search of her special villager, who she found at the edge of the woods shivering. Despite what her advisors said, she took them back to her icy palace to take care of them. Some versions of the story say they were married, but all versions of the story say this: that anyone who can find the romantic tea setting she left abandoned in the clearing will surely be able to find and rescue their beloved from anything that befalls them. And if this story is true, this might be your chance to find the key to that special person's heart. So you set out into the glacier to seek it out. It seems the queen wasn't married when she was investigating. Depends on the version of the story, though. The queen could be in this chat right now. Okay, tea date. How many stories do we have? Mountain Knight, Ice Dragon's Feather. Wow. Okay, 2 more. Then we can decide what we want to do. The Mountain Knight. You heard the tale of the Mountain Knight from an esteemed researcher in your field, someone everyone looks up to, yourself included. It was first mentioned in passing in one of their papers, but they brought it up again over a professional lunch. You see, right now people come in mostly the same size. There are minor differences, surely, a matter of a foot here or some inches there. I thought this was gonna be like a matter of a foot here or some hands there, but by and large people have a very narrow range of sizes. But a long time ago, people became in many, many different sizes than they do now. People were very small, only the size of a cat or smaller, and people were enormous. How enormous? The size of the Mountain King. Yeah, well, but working as a professional lunch, good stuff. A long time ago, in this mysterious age, people were philosophers and poets and scientists, and they studied the sky and every other place they could find omens and signs. The Mountain Knight, a person the size of, well, a mountain, was just such a philosopher. They used their closeness to the sky to study the movements of the stars, and were well regarded not only as a knight of great courage and valor, but also as an astronomer and poet. One day, the Mountain Knight was sitting on the hillside, watching the sky and composing some verses to share with their friends when next they met. When the connections between the worlds in their poem and the stars in the sky suddenly became clear to them in a moment of sublime inspiration. Such inspiration, and no one to share it with. They stood to hurry to the city and tell their friends about their latest work, but the inspiration kept going. Like a stone thrown across an icy pond, the thoughts of the Mountain Knight just kept going, unable to stop until they reached the other side. They waited until nightfall so they could observe the stars and make sure they were completely certain. But once the stars were out, there was no avoiding it. The Mountain Knight saw catastrophe in the movements of the spheres as they sat in the snowy hillside. A great meteor glowed in the distance, threatening to crash into the planet and cause unimaginable pain and suffering. Maybe not to the people of that age, but to the people of some far-flung future age, this meteor might even spell complete doom. Yes, you didn't stick with astrophysics because you weren't tall enough. Despondent, the mountain knights sat on the hillside trying to think of something they could do to protect the people of that future. People who they had never met. They thought and they thought and they still couldn't come up with anything. Fine, the mountain knights said out to the lonely night, gripping their enormous hill-cleaving sword. Fine, come then, meteor. I will be waiting right here when you do. And it is said that the mountain knight waited on that hill so long that they turned to stone and became just a mountain. But it is said they are still watching the place where the meteor will fall. This might just be the era threatened by that meteor, according to the legends. Whether or not the mountain knight can be roused may make the difference between peace and devastation for our world. Even if they cannot be roused, perhaps their stone gaze will provide a clue to what we can do to avoid disaster. So you set out into the glacier to seek them out. Right. And last, the ice dragon's feather. You heard about the ice dragon's feather over drinks with a notorious braggart. You and a small crowd of other drinkers listened patiently as the braggart told their tale of an encounter with the terrifying dragon that dwells in the glacier. Finally, at the climax of the story, they presented what looked like, well, an ordinary seagull pinion. It is said that once, in a distant history, there was a warrior without equal. They swore themselves in the service of an infant prince and pledged never to allow any force of any kind to interfere with the prince or his future reign. As the prince grew into a serious, studious little boy, the warrior was always right there watching over him. When rebels attempted to kidnap the prince, the warrior dispatched them in a fierce battle, fighting off almost a dozen people all alone. When a horrifying monster appeared at the southern border, devouring villagers and livestock, the warrior made the journey to dispatch it and brought one of its fangs back to show the prince. And when the ice dragon left the glacier to try and snatch summer away from the people of the valley, the warrior was there to drive it away. After the battle, the dragon left in such a hurry that it left one of its shining silver blue feathers behind. Even afterwards, the prince wore a dragon feather in his cap. Then one day, the old queen fell ill of a plague, leaving her young son to be crowned king. Everyone in the country tried their hardest to celebrate despite the gloom that had come over the valley. They hung banners and they watched from their windows as a quiet procession made its way through the town. When the young king was crowned, he stood alone in front of the assembled people. His protector, the great warrior, had fallen ill with this very same plague that had claimed his mother. All of a sudden, the boy who had grown up loved and protected by a capable, strong people was a lonely king with no one to protect him. All he could do was try to live and honor their protection. An uncertain teenager grew into a stern, quiet, serious young man with a dragon's feather in his cap. One day, as the king was walking in the woods with his retainers, a group of bandits emerged, weapons drawn, to try and take the young king hostage. They gathered around him, and although his retainers tried, there were too few in number to drive the bandits away. Just as the leader of the bandits reached a hand out to try and grab the king, everyone present heard a roar coming from the glacier. Just then, a thick blizzard kicked up, blocking everyone's view and freezing them to their core. In the wind, the king felt a strong hand, like the hand of his sworn protector, take his own hand and lead him to safety. After that day, the king never fell sick. He was never injured no matter what incident befell him, and whenever everything around him was in chaos, he closed his eyes and could feel that strong hand guiding him. It is said that the feather of the ice dragon, which he wore until his dying day, had the power to protect him from any misfortune in the place of his fallen guardian. And you know someone who you would keep safe at any cost. So you set out into the glacier to seek it out. Okay. So what is our motivation? Which one should we choose? the Ice Dragon's Feather, the Mountain Knight, the Winter Queen's Service, or the Brine Rain Unicorn. Oh, you know what I could? Oh, it's too long. You can't make it shorter than this? Look at that. I just wanted to do it. Can I vote for myself? Let's see. What do I feel like? I'm gonna vote. I'll be the only one who votes. That's the biggest trick. I'll vote. Ooh, Mountain Knight. I voted in this bias. Can I report my own poll? There could be a meteor, you never know. Well, now it's 50-50 if I don't count my vote. What a disaster. I was gonna go with the Mountain Knight because I was there. The end. Okay, well, we'll go with the Winter Queen's Service. That was the rigged poll. So we are going into the Glacier to find this special romantic tea set, to find the key to a special person's heart. All right. I know, but it's interactive, chat. Okay, so getting ready. First, take out the Ace of Clubs. Get this out of here. The Ace of Clubs and the King of Hearts. King of Hearts. What else was I looking for? Queen of Diamonds. King of Hearts. Queen of Diamonds. I don't think I saw. There it is. Oh my god, I went backwards. Okay, so we're seeking the Winter Queen's Service, King of Hearts, Ace of Clubs, and Queen of Diamonds. Okay. Draw 9 to 21 more cards. Well, I'm gonna just shuffle this real quick. I'm assuming this deck was supposed to be shuffled beforehand. It's probably shuffled enough. Starting to get a bit well-used cards, I guess. Which is nice. I feel like this is the most I've ever used playing cards. Ever. Since I started doing these streams. Otherwise the cards just sat away. Okay, so, well, 9 to 21 more cards. Big of an area. How big of an area? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Does it have to be a multiple of something? Well, let's just start with 9, maybe. We'll start with the lower end. Maybe we'll do 2, or maybe we'll move to figure out our own thing later. Add the card you chose in step 2, which is the Queen of Diamonds. And to the face down pile, also face down. Add the King of Hearts the pile face up. So it is only the face up card. Well, the only face up card. Okay, shuffle the pile. You'd think I could, you know, if I could learn how to like do some fancy shuffling. I'm not though. I'm not very good at fancy shuffling. Okay, so this is shuffled. Lay the cards out in a grid, face down except for the... Oh wait, so it doesn't matter how many we picked. 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, 2 more. Let me just do this in a stand up, organize. Line it up with the bottom of this. There. Okay. I don't know if I need these still. So, place the Ace of Club cards on the outside of the grid face up and place your character marker. This is S. So, you should have a grid of face down cards, the King of Hearts face up somewhere in the grid, the Ace of... Well, it's on the outside, but like, it fits so nicely, so that's where it is. Playing the game. Alright, so, oh, I guess I probably do need paper to like, write down my warmth. Oh my god. Come on, there we go. So you start with 8 warmth, mark this down on your paper or in your journal. Every round before you move, lose 1 warmth. Every round you choose a card next to your marker, turn it face up if it's face down. Okay. 8 warmth. We're gonna freeze. Every round you choose a card next to your marker, turn it face up if it's face down, look at that card and follow the instructions on it. If you ever reach 0 warmth, then you lose consciousness and you need to be rescued, and you go to the King of Hearts. Your goal is to find the thing you came to the Glacier for and then return to the Ace of Clubs. Your goal is also to see what you can find. I'll just put this way so that we know it's different. Your goal is also to see what you can see, find what you can find, and explore this untouched and mysterious place. Okay, so... Okay, so these are all of the things that we can... So let's go to the same thing with all of these prompts. Anything else? Thank you for playing. Okay. So every round before we move, we lose 1 warmth, and then we move to... Can you move in any direction? Next to your marker. Well, whatever. Okay, so... Well, I guess we lose a warmth. Brr. I feel like I need some, like... Okay, you know what? We're doing a music swap. This is gonna feel weird since it's summer now, but, you know. This is my winter stuff playlist. I'll stop it before it gets too Christmas. We're playing this in the dead of summer here. Although, back in Alberta, it's probably winter. Okay, so we're down to 7 warmth as we walk to Discard. We walk to the 9 of diamonds. Let's see what happened. Hearts, diamonds. Diamond bird. A cry like a tinkling of bells rings through the air all around you, and there is a flurry of movement in the featureless sky. Suddenly, little crystalline talons latch into the shoulder of your coat as a bird, only the size of a common pigeon, but resplendent with transparent, glassy feathers. Ooh, lands on you with a ringing noise. It regards you curiously, and as you move on, it stays with you. The next time a card would ask you to roll a die, you can choose what face to set it on instead. Okay. Can choose number on die. Next. Roll. Diamond Dove. Can you imagine Diamond Dove? That would be so fast. Diamond except just leave everything behind even more. Maybe not. Maybe it'd be harder. I don't know. Okay. Well, we're gonna continue on to the next card beside it here. I guess we lose a warmth. Two. Why did I say 6? Because we're at 6-1. 2 of diamonds. Oh, we find a frozen bellflower. In the undergrowth beside you, you could swear you hear the sound of a chime disturbing the icy air. When you look, there's nothing in the snowbank but a single sprig of flowers encased in a coating of ice. Was that a fingers one off type, right? I like it. A glue. A glue, a glue, a glue, a glue. Even when you pick them up, the ice refuses to melt. It is like a coating of crystal. Interesting. So we find a flower that we can't do anything with. Oh, the keyboard layout was set to QWERTY for a game error. Interesting. Well, guess we'll go. Let's just keep going straight. 10 of spades. 10 of spades. Dangers of the Glacier. Oh no. Treacherous Scepter. Did I move my cold down? 7, 6, 5. That should be 5, right? Oh my god, we're getting cold really fast. Right? 8, 7, 6, 5. Yeah. Counting's hard. The world around you is completely white. From the dazzling fresh snow to the cloudy sky to the thick coating of ice on everything you can see. In the distance, though, there is a shadow, something stark black, wandering the glacier in a formless robe that trails behind it, like the smoke of a house fire. The wind stops for a moment, the snow falls lightly, but you still feel a chill you can't shake. Lose 2 warmth? What the hell? We're down to 3? We're really cold. This is bad. What happens when I get to 0? We go to the King of Hearts. Oh, I guess, yeah, maybe something will happen. I didn't peek. It just occurred to me. So, if you ever reach 0 warmth, we get to the King of Hearts, so we get rescued. Okay. Well, we're getting cold. But we're having some cheerful... Not even showing up. This is Mario. Maybe because this is an imported song. I mean, what? Alright, so we're losing another warmth before we move, so we're down to 2. The game we're currently playing, or I should have that on the screen somewhere, or the music game. Which Mario is this from? Let's see if I can get you. I'm working on it. I don't know if that's garden game, right? That is a good call. Maybe I need to get a whole, like, layout. It's too hard to read. I'm spending way too much time on this. There. Alright, as we're about to freeze to death. I'm at 2 warmth, and what do we say? Jack of clubs. Wait, that's wrong, isn't it? Oh, wait. No, we guess we didn't. We're supposed to... Were we supposed to remove those? Let's read it, I guess. This is the mountain that you see. A great hill, or perhaps a low mountain through the blowing snow. As you grow closer, its form goes clear. Now I'm confused. Should we have removed those cards or not? Maybe not. I don't know. Like these guarantees, I guess this is just a guarantee that it's in your deck, right? Because if we're looking for that. But I guess we found the Mountain Knight, even though we didn't mean to. Jack of clubs. So we see the great hill, or perhaps a low mountain through the blowing snow. As you grow closer, its form grows clearer. You can see a folded leg, a rested arm, and even faintly a hand large enough that it could pick you up and cradle you. There is a head turned towards the horizon, too. Roll one of the dice and lose that much warmth as you climb the lonely mountain. If you still have warmth remaining, then you make it to the giant's shoulders to see what they are watching. I mean, so I'm allowed to choose what my roll is now, obviously, so I'm gonna choose 1. So that I still have warmth. But we're gonna die, like, no matter what. At least we made it to the Mountain Knight's shoulders, even though we weren't aiming to them. What are we watching? I don't know what they're watching. But I have to lose 1 warmth before I start to move to the next section, which puts us to 0. And that means we immediately get teleported. Immediately? I don't turn the next card over, I think, right? Oh yeah, let's have a party as we freeze to death. So we take off, so we're up to 0, we get teleported to King of Hearts. Let's see what happens. King of Hearts. I saw there's some sort of Hermit. Oops. The Hermit's home. You wake up in a small, cozy cottage in the woods. The air smells of mysterious spices and you can see drying herbs hanging from the rafters above you. A dried petal falls and lands on the heavy down blanket someone has put on you. A kindly face smiles down at you from a nearby stool and tells you they found you out on the glacier. How are you feeling? Roll both your dice and gain that many warmth back as you sit and exchange stories with this gentle stranger. Oh, so it's not like game over. That is very good. I was not sure what would happen, and this is kind of fun. We get saved by a hermit. Just move these out of the way. Okay, let's see how much warmth we get. Oh, that would have been valuable to be able to roll like a make guaranteed 6. 5 and 2. We get 7 warmth back, which is pretty good, I guess. So we'll be chatting, and then we're gonna be like, time to move on. We are looking for the Queen's romantic tea set. Let's go over here because I was curious for the middle card. So down to 6 warmth. This is no longer an option. 5 of clubs. Battle for territory. A resounding crack fills the cold air, followed by a deep bellowing noise. When you look out from behind a thick tree trunk, you see a pair of elk, and more enormous, shaggy creatures with their steaming breath and spreading antlers. They circle one another, too focused on each other to notice you, and suddenly they rear up and run their heads into one over. Best to leave while they're distracted. They seem angry. Yeah, don't want to fuck with some elk. They can be big. They are big. It's like a moose. You wanna keep your distance from those things. You might be like, oh, it's just a moose. No, it's a moose. That thing will like charge you. Okay, so now I guess we'll go up. I wonder if you can return. These are like can you return to the same cards? I mean, I suppose so. Because, like, you know, if we go here, then we're at what at the end? But I'm not sure. Okay, wait, I have to take off my warmth. So down to 4, move to 5 of hearts. Hearts seem good, right? Like the Hermit was in the hearts section. 5 of hearts. Weeping Fairy. You come into a clearing and hear a tiny voice, barely audible over the wind. It is, however, unmistakable. Someone is crying. You call out and the crying stops. In your snow-blurred vision, you see a tiny person with pale green wings like those of a cabbage moth. Tears are running down their little face, and once they realize you can see them, they begin to plead with you to stay with them. Gain 1 warmth as you keep the little one company until their friend finds them. Aww, okay. Hearts are good. So, what do you think? Do you think that this is where we want to go, or should we go this way? That time I muted. I sneezed. Yeah, I like this game. I like the board game / exploring combination. Let's go here. Queen of Diamonds! Isn't that where we wanted to go? Winter Queen's service. Yeah, this is a Christmas song, even though it's not Christmas. But if the song came on, as we find deep in the woods, there is a clearing where the trees sparkle like diamonds, and the cold sky above seems to shimmer with reflected light from the pearly, sparkling snow. In the middle of this clearing, there is a table untouched by the falling snow, and if you look down, you can see small, delicate footprints leading away from the table, perfectly preserved. Sitting on the table, still steaming with the rich scent of rose tea, is a delicate tea service for two. It is white with icy blue flowers. Do you stop to taste the tea? Well, yes, we do. This is our whole goal. Roll one of your dice. If it shows less than a 4, you regain 2 warmth. Okay, well, roll... Oh my god, isn't 4 like my... These are all weighted on 4. We need to have... If it shows less than a 4, so 1, 2, or 3. Oh, yes, we got 2 warmth back. So 5, 6. Was there guidance on like what we did once we achieved our goal, or not? Or then return to the Ace of Clubs. So I guess we can... Well, we'll just... I guess we'll never know what's over here. We'll just head back. So, it's down to 5. Although the Hermit, I think, will help us. 7 of Hearts. Rime-bound Oracle. As you walk past a tree whose branches are encased in glittering ice, a figure drops down, hanging upside down by their knees from a branch like a child at play. They have long bluish-black hair, and each strand is coated in a thin layer of ice so that their entire head glimmers in the light. They lock eyes with you and giggle, saying they know why you're here and offering to help for a price. You can spend 2 warmth to turn over and look at any face-down card. Well, we don't actually need this. So we're not actually going to need... Well, we could, though. Then we could know what this is without needing to travel all the way. And I think we could probably still afford to make it back. This will cost 2 warmth to do here, and this will cost... Okay, let's do it. We're down to 3. And we're going to look at this one. 3 of clubs. We'll look at that later. And now we're going to progress down to 2 and to move to this. This might have been a risky decision, but you know what? I'm a completionist. I hate... It's like when you're racing in Decadence, or you have the perfect build, and you still check the black chest and so corks. What else would you need? Well, what is it? 4 of spades. Frozen Wanderers. You reach a wall of ice, and at first you walk closer to it to try and get out of the wind. In your temporary relief, you look up gratefully at the ice, and a shiver runs through you. Trapped in the solid ice like fallen leaves are twisted forms of people bundled up like yourself in winter gear to trespass on the glacier. You should hurry. Ah! Alright, we spend 1 warmth, and we made it back to the Ace of Clubs. Is there something on here if we, like, go back to the door? This is the village gate. Oh wait, were we supposed to read this for the beginning? This is the last familiar place before you reach the Glacier. A big gate made of an ancient wood stands proud, despite the dusting of snow on top. Behind you there is a small village, and you can see the rooftops over the hill. In front of you is the glacier, a great icy wilderness. Are you ready to set out on your journey? Well, actually, we just came back, but I didn't realize that we were supposed to read this as a beginner. Check your gear. This is your last chance. If you run out of warmth here, you do not go to the Hermit's home. Instead, you roll 1 die, regain that much warmth, and continue your journey here. Interesting. Was that supposed to be the start or not? Oh, maybe if you were like... Oh. Thank you. It's probably because I'm just playing other audio. Let's turn it down. Jamming music. How's that? I think it was because I was actively avoiding, backtracking. Although this was supposed to be outside of the grid. So that also just kind of confusing to me with the structure of, like, I mean, I ended up having it. I guess it can fit in the grid. But we did it. We successfully discovered the Queen's service. We had some lovely roast tea and explored some icy locations. But I like this. The system, this broad system. This is the called Carta system, which was made by the same person who made this game. We can read the ending of this. Thank you for reading this game. Well, we read it out loud. I guess we spoke it and read it. See this? I like this. The inspiration for this game came from Edmonton Winters. I know it.